Hi, I'm Wayward, and this is Command & Conquer 3 Kane's Wrath 1.02 plus R16. Looking at a 1 versus 1 today for the first time for me, I think, on Tournament Crater. Possibly not exactly the first time for me, possibly the first. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, today I'm looking at a 1 versus 1, of course, between ChaoSiT, I'm going to call him Chaos, at the south as the green plain old GDI, and to the north as our red black hand FiReSToRM. So let's just take a look. Got a couple of Confessor Cabals heading out. Looks like there's our first Saboteur coming over to capture a Tiberium Spike. Not super familiar with the map. Another Saboteur, another Tiberium Spike. Looks like there are two natural empty blue Tiberium fields. You've got your regular field and one expansion, and then we've got a little another one growing over here. So kind of a different setup to the maps I am used to seeing. Interestingly enough, also a natural EMP control center. And some turrets. Looks like got a little combat going down with those Confessor Cabals. Not doing too much, although I think drove that one rifleman squad a little crazy. So that is fun. Looks like we already have some bikes out. Otherwise, fairly standard. Bike are coming down. We actually have 3 bikes right now coming down for some quick harass. What hammerheads already? That's wild. Hammerhead kind of being kept alive by the War Factory. Nicely done, actually, I think. Chaos already upgrading their power plant as well, which is interesting. And now moving out here, I guess, to the corner to expand. FiReSToRM doing the same thing for his part. Looks like also on 2 refineries and getting some more bikes out. Let's see. Hammerhead out with a rifleman squad. Actually manages to take the bike out. I think shoot through. Okay, Wayward, you can do this. Enunciate. Through sheer DPS, I think the Hammerhead took that bike out. A lot of little interesting notes I'm making on the map here with these expansion points, some guard houses. I think that's a second War Factory. Yeah, second War Factory for our Black Hand player. Meanwhile, Chaos still being pretty standard with his build, a little behind possibly the Nod Black Hand player. We'll have to see though, because as much as harass can be useful, throwing your units away, there's a difference between harassing and just throwing your units away. So we'll have to see what ends up happening there. Hammerhead does get taken out, but a Pitbull comes out at the last second, and of course the War Factory being used to keep the Harvester alive. It's a nice touch. Several more buggies coming out. For me, sometimes it's hard to tell when you're getting a good advantage from keeping your opponent off balance and when you're just throwing units away. And I do feel like right now FiReSToRM's kind of dancing on the edge of that. Too many more units that don't do anything besides die. It's potentially going to cause a problem. Nod force is big enough to drive these pit bulls off. Probably gonna get another kill there. There it goes. However, Chaos has transitioned to Predators and APCs. Feels like a more natural composition to put some pressure on that Nod opponent. Let's see, we've got the Operations Center, Tier 2, 1 upgraded power plant at this point. We'll have to see what our Blackhand player is planning to do with his Tier 2, and apparently the plan was to get Tier 3. More attempts at harass, but it looks like Chaos is going to be ready for that. Chaos also getting his Tier 3 out. Chaos has entirely mined out his first base. Going to be moving to extensively harvest this second. Harvester not really... It's not really in danger, but it's almost dead, huh? One Harvester goes down. Only one at this point. Probably a decent trade-off. Not a lot died there. Confessor Cabal is wasting itself. Now, the one thing that FiReSToRM is really doing is he's keeping Chaos in his base, but this army is getting bigger and bigger, and okay, we do have the transition to Scorpions. I'm not sure if there's quite enough of them yet. Do we have railguns? Is that what I saw? No. Oh, it's lasers. Ooh. Missile coming down, dropping that damaged refinery entirely. Not a huge loss, but a little annoying. Not entirely sure of the cost efficiency of dropping that. This is one of my favorite Nod compositions. I feel like infantry are often underutilized in Command & Conquer games. 3 hands of Nod? That seems a little excessive. But I'm not 100% sure how this is going to shape up. This is a fairly decent sized infantry force, and there's not a lot of anti-infantry damage in here. I do like this. While this main infantry force is keeping this vehicle force at bay, we also have these Scorpions coming down around the side to deal some damage, and I think they're going to be able to. There's not really anything in the... Oh! Except for the MARV that I completely missed being built. Interesting. It is moving out, and as slow as it is, these Scorpions will actually have a pretty good opportunity to come here and destroy everything that hasn't been sold off already. Meanwhile, don't want to miss the combat going on up here. We do have a Purifier. It's a lot of turrets. That's way more turrets than you need, honestly. Let's see, the Scorpions come into the base. They're going to be able to pick off a Harvester for free. No, actually, that one's gone. MARV backing on up into the base. Probably too late to save that war factory, actually. Down it goes. Actually, that was sold off, not killed. The rest of this army actually coming out as well, doing the same thing these tanks did. Why not? Ooh, looks like he's depowered his opponent. That's kind of brutal. MARV having a lot of trouble getting around to catch those tanks, but we do have the rest of the force coming down here to clean that up. And it looks like possibly FiReSToRM has reconsidered, or he wasn't attacking, just moving down to secure his third expansion. So FiReSToRM, by the way, is taking advantage of the blue Tiberium, and it does not look like our GDI player is doing that. So Chaos has been kept on the back foot for a long time. Is badly depowered now, it looks like. Still. That's gotta hurt.
The Redeemer has risen.
Yeah, he has. There's the Redeemer. I really hope we get a nice epic versus epic fight. We will have to see. But yeah, a lot of nod infantry, and actually with, I guess he's just relocating those since they're so cheap. Looks like we have the makings of a, I was gonna say an epic fight, but that's all on the nose, isn't it? Finally manages to repower himself, and one Juggernaut out at this point. The Rage Gen goes off, does not look like it's doing a lot to the GDI forces, but this is a tremendous amount of infantry, and like I said, there's not a lot of anti-infantry here. Certainly no area of effect anti-infantry. The MARV may be able to help, but we've got lasers and fire, and that poor War Factory just melts. Yeah, the infantry are going down fairly slowly. The barracks is gone. The construction yard being laser fenced, but still taking some at least incidental damage. Power plant about to go down. What remains of this army is being forced back and back and back. And watch out for your con yard, man. Do you even have? Well, I guess we do have a war factory back here in case we really need. Space Command uplink firing off a missile of some description. Looks like we have a little run by to the north, just like FiReSToRM did, and now we have another tank run by while this fight is still going on. Chaos still getting the worst of this. Rage Gen goes off again, and the MARV gets caught by it, taking out Juggernaut after Juggernaut. That is brutal. But that, I'm sorry, I actually don't know the name of the support power, but whatever that was, the missiles did their trick. Just check, huh? Snipers being called out, I do like that. Let's see. That tank attack seems to have either done pretty well, or FiReSToRM sold off a lot of his stuff. The facility is still there, being used to produce some tanks. How many war factories? Looks like just 2. It's like FiReSToRM is trying to remind Chaos to mine this blue Tiberium. If Chaos loses, this may be a big part of the reason that there's no blue Tiberium going down there. More tanks attempting to harass, but Scorpion tanks in the base prevent that. Meanwhile, we have harassment of FiReSToRM's own with these infantry and Purifier. Actually melt buildings pretty quickly. Depowered again, it looks like. MARV is having to fend off Scorpions by itself. It actually seems to manage to do that okay. We're kind of in the long tail right now. This Tiberium field has rebuilt itself pretty well. This one's... So I think Chaos is kind of sustaining his fields a little better. He's getting constant, but a little slow harvesting out of 3 of them simultaneously. Where FiReSToRM has oversaturated all of his fields. That's a lot of factories. I'm not sure his income is going to sustain this, but I guess we'll have to see. MARV pushing out way too far. That's kind of more than kind of dangerous. I feel like this is sacrificing your unit territory for chaos. This is pretty bad. There's no need to do that. And I don't think it's... maybe... it's going to be close. I can't call it. The Juggernauts helping reduce the damage to the MARV. MARV almost dead though, and down it goes, and that was honestly entirely Chaos's fault. Oof. Yeah, not great. Juggernauts still able to deal enough raw damage to these Scorpions to drive them off. But yeah, like I said, we're kind of getting into the long tail of the game here. Players are, on both sides, are trying to maximize what remains of their income. Nobody capitalizing on this field, but we actually still do have harvesting of this top field by FiReSToRM, so good on him. And whoops, Mr. Chaos. Chaos has completely let these two fields lie fallow. Actually, also not claiming this husk, which is a pretty significant amount of resources. Juggernauts with tank support. I am not really convinced of this build, but I guess we still have to see how it plays out. I don't see anything coming from the airfield right now. Also, the Scorpions are not upgraded. You think with as many of them as there are, it would be worthwhile getting the dose blades. This harassment seems to have done the trick. There's one harvester left here, two. I don't know how many there were before those tanks came in, but probably more than two. Still trying to constantly produce out of... I guess there's 4 factories, but there's only one being produced out of at the moment. Interesting to me that FiReSToRM is dedicating so much effort to producing just Scorpions. However, our GDI player has failed to adapt. There are no more infantry, and these APCs currently are not what he needs. Hopefully he manages to see that. Actually, still not grabbing these husks. That's like, what, 2,000, 2,500 resources more just sitting there doing nothing. Finally moving back over here. I think that's a good call for Chaos. FiReSToRM probably could use another refinery up here to maintain his income, but seems to be doing tolerably well anyway. These tank numbers for FiReSToRM are getting out of control ridiculous. Despite the fact that he has so many resources at his disposal, Chaos is having a lot of trouble keeping up. This harass may pay off, but not if these Juggernauts kick the bucket. Even losing one of them would be pretty terrible at this point. Upgraded Predator tanks, more than a match for the Scorpions. Scorpions still without dozer blades, not being able to make a good flank around this, so losing a lot more Scorpions if he needs to, but killing, what, 3 of the 4 Juggernauts, so that's pretty good trade-off, I would have to say. Yeah, FiReSToRM does not have a lot of stuff, which could be a bit of an issue at this point since these tanks are pushing in. This is just a way. Somebody needs to grab these Juggernauts. Speaking of the Juggernauts, the ones that are alive are being used to some pretty severe effect. Let's see, not a reamer, it looks like. Just another tank for not being sold, but lost the reamer. It was a black piece, maybe it was actually just sold. FiReSToRM losing almost everything at this point. Going down hard. I don't think there's any production left after this war factory. Shredder turret out at the last second, possibly helping to clean this up. If this has got to be the end, right? Shredder turret goes down. MCV construction yard goes down, and that's it for FiReSToRM, I think. Basically. Yep. FiReSToRM has been defeated. So, fun match, a lot of back and forth. Good times. Look at that. I guess that's just the infantry numbers. Structures pretty even. Chaos a little ahead. FiReSToRM resources way ahead. I was expecting that, but yeah, well played. Well played by both players. Anyway, this has been Wayward Strategy, and this has been Command & Conquer 3, Kane's Wrath 1.02 plus R16. Thanks for watching.